What's up, Taiwan? I'm Jaime Ocon with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Environmental groups are calling out chip giant TSMC for its high water and electricity consumption as the company builds a new factory in Kaohsiung. Tiffany Wong reports.
Under construction and under fire. This is the newest factory of the world's leading chip maker, and environmental groups are calling for TSMC to offset its impact. The site in Taiwan's southern city of Kaohsiung was originally planned to be a 28-nanometer fab, but was upgraded last year to make 2-nanometer chips used in artificial intelligence technology, requiring more water and electricity, and producing more byproducts like wastewater and greenhouse gases. At an environmental impact review, environmental justice advocates called on the chip company to come up with a plan to reduce the new fab's footprint on the environment.
长远来看的话，希望说可以比照这个未来要即将上路的碳费收费标准，那里面有规定，就是说这个碳排放大户呢要来做这个自主减量的计划。那这个自主减量计划也可以作为他们未来碳费折扣的项目。
The environmental group pointed out that the fab would use up a large part of the city's power, and that last year, the science park which houses the fab already increased its electricity consumption by 9%. They suggest TSMC invest in renewable energy and install solar panels to offset the fab's environmental impact. But the city government, which is reviewing the project, says TSMC already has plans to use 100% green electricity by 2040.
为了提升绿电使用的比例，以符合净零排放的趋势，这次台积电在环它变更，也把使用绿电的期程往前来提前，包括在2030年就使用绿电达到60%，在2040年就能100%来使用绿电。
The review committee suggested the chipmaker add water and air quality checks to its operations to reduce its effects on the environment. But the giant chipmaker's impact can already be felt in the city, even before it started making chips here. Devin Tsai and Tiffany Wong for TaiwanPlus.
As the 2024 Paris Olympics approach, one Taiwanese boxer is hoping to win her country's first gold medal in the sport. Bryn Thomas has her story.
28-year-old Taiwanese boxer Lin Yuting trains twice a day, 6 days a week. In the run-up to the Paris Olympics, the national team athlete has devoted all her time and attention to one goal.
我就是要好好的把握巴黎奥运这场比赛，那为自己、为台湾，然后拿到一个属于我们台湾的奥运金牌。对。
If she does, it'll be a first for Taiwan in the sport, and the high point in Lin's 15-year boxing career, which has seen her touch gloves over 60 times. It'll also be a major achievement for her coach.
从国中的时候，他就是我，然后一直到他就读高中啊、大学，这样一路到现在，大概我们合作了有15年的时间。
Coach Seng has watched Lin grow into the featherweight she is today. He's been there through the daily grueling humdrum of elite-level boxing training, and knows what motivates her to keep running, keep sparring, and keep her hands up.
预备保持好，3个，每一拳打直。
那其实教练当时就指着场馆，然后就告诉我说：“你能够想象，你在这个场馆这么多人、几万人、几十万人的场馆，然后在下面，在这么多人的注视下，然后打一场比赛给他们看吗？”
That inspirational challenge worked. Lin has since fought the best in the world at the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo and at the 2022 Women's Boxing Championships in Istanbul, among many others. It was winning gold at the 2023 Asian Games in Hangzhou, China, that paved her way to the Paris 2024 Olympics. In 2016, she even went toe-to-toe with two-time British Olympic gold medalist Nicola Adams. Lin says Adams was her toughest opponent.
没有说因为他是奥运冠军，我就感到害怕或退缩，就是可能没有遇过我这种身材的对手，因为其实我算是他的遇过的对手当中，算是身材是比较高挑的一点，所以我的距离很长，他就一面压着我打，然后这场比赛也不是说一面倒的比赛，就是打得有来有回，有来有回，但最终比赛就输给了这位选手，但 我赢得了满场观众的欢呼。
It's this you don't lose, you just learn attitude and her commitment to the sport and willingness to make sacrifices that's kept her on her path.
就是如果说再重来一次，让我投胎再重来一次，我可能还是会选拳击。对，因为虽然说拳击在训练的过程，应该说在训练体育项目的过程当中一定是辛苦的，但它可以带给你的成就跟果实是甜美的。
While for many athletes, the journey is the reward. For Lin Yuting, nothing will prove sweeter than the taste of gold at the end of a trip to Europe this summer. Ryan Wu, Sandy Chi, and Bryn Thomas for TaiwanPlus.
An injured Risso's dolphin has died after it washed up on the beach in southern Taiwan. Passers-by tried to help the animal, but it died shortly after being found. Local biologists say that dolphins rarely swim to shore, and this one was likely already ill. They might think it might have gotten stranded while trying to rest, but aren't sure of its exact cause of death. Risso's dolphins are just one of many types of dolphins found off Taiwan's shores, including spinner dolphins, Fraser's dolphins, and bottlenose dolphins. Scientists in Norway are breeding Arctic foxes and releasing them into the wild. But climate change is impacting their original habitats, threatening their chances of survival. Bryn Thomas reports.
If you find yourself in northern Norway, keep an eye open for the Arctic fox. If you're lucky enough to see one, you can thank a captive breeding program set up by the country's government.
The captive breeding for Arctic foxes was set up in 2005 as a conservation initiative. There were very few Arctic foxes remaining at that time in Scandinavia, as few as possibly 50 individuals. The aim of the captive breeding station is to produce pups, offspring, that are raised at the facility here, and then once they become adults, they are then released out into the wild, into various populations.
Once common in Scandinavia, the Arctic fox was hunted to the brink of extinction for its fur almost a century ago. A series of hunting bans between 1920 and 1930 saved the species, but its population never completely recovered. When the captive breeding program started, there were as few as 40 of the animals in the wild in Norway. That number now sits around 550. But because of climate change, the environment these animals are returning to is not the same as the one they left.
Mostly it's probably going to be through the effect it will have on their prey, and especially their preferred prey, lemmings and other rodents. If we get warmer and more unstable climate where you get snow melt and you get icing on the ground, that is going to affect how well the rodents can survive.
An unstable climate is making it harder for smaller animals to survive, meaning less food for foxes. To solve this, the captive breeding program also has an active feeding program, placing barrels of dog kibble out for foxes.
We have feeding stations for the Arctic foxes. Those are made up of standing barrels with a laying barrel where the foxes can go in. And then in the last standing barrel, we have standard dog pellets that we fill into it and that the foxes eat.
Norway spends nearly $300,000 a year feeding the foxes, all to bring their population up to 2,000. But without addressing the larger problems facing the country's and the world's ecosystems, even the most well-funded attempts at conservation may prove futile. Eason Chen and Bryn Thomas for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Before we go, check out these horses from the Arabian horse competition in Libya. I'm Jaime Ocon. Take care and see you next time.